So it just finished that sub 5-minute mile attempt. Unfortunately got 5:19. I'm gonna re-attempt that in about 4 weeks time. But my sole focus now is heading towards Hyrox. Hyrox is the next goal, it's the next sole focus. Really gonna launch at this. I don't think I've ever sort of launched at an event like this before. So we're gonna solely put all energy, all systems, and just drive full on towards Hyrox. It's in 12 weeks time in Melbourne. I'm doing it as a solo in the pro division. I've gone out and hired a coach who is an expertise in Hyrox, Rich Diaz. So he coaches Hunter McIntyre, who's the world record holder in Hyrox, in both singles and doubles. He's been doing it for a long time. So the idea is that I put all my focus and energy into this, the podium in Melbourne, to go flat out and to give everything I got to make sure I'm best prepared going towards Melbourne Hyrox. Then after that, then we turn our sole focus into the ultra marathon scene, LA to Vegas, which will give me a 4-month window to train towards to get ready for Death Valley and the desert. So keep up to date with Hyrox. If you're doing Hyrox, you can jump on, see what I'm doing. I'm gonna give you some nice hints, tips, and all this sort of stuff to improve your Hyrox time. If you're not doing Hyrox, jump on, have a look, see what it is. It's a running event, 8 1Ks incorporated into 8 exercises. So it's about an hour to an hour and 45 of work. We'd love for you to get involved, and we look forward to showing you, Case, what we can do in a 12-week period and the fitness levels we can get up to. So subscribe and follow along for the journey. Thank you.
By the way, this is Hunter McIntyre. Just report on the top, this orange line that you see on the graph, this is the respiratory quotient, or what is equally termed respiratory exchange ratio. And so from lesser to greater up the scale, you can see that his aerobic threshold came in about 167 beats per minute and 65% into his fat stores at that point in time. And then that green line is essentially what would be referred to as the anaerobic threshold. That came in at about 100, well, let's see what I have here. I think I have it at 170 beats per minute, thereabouts. And he's still doing pretty well. He doesn't go all in to his sugar stores till after 170 beats per minute. Now, this was when he was training for endurance. This is when he was doing a lot of the Spartan events, anywhere from a 10K to Ultra Beast type thing. Not, well, I take it back. He didn't do Ultra Beast. He did Beast.
Yep.
World champion distance, 13 miles on a mountain. This report below is just after he won world championships in Hyrox. And you can see that the numbers are so much less. Now between 133 and 138, where before he was 167 and 170. And what's interesting about this, and I know in fact because I work with the guy, I've tested him 1 million times, he races at about close to 170 beats per minute in a Hyrox event. This is you on treadmill. So I'm going to play this back to you in slow speed. We're going to look at a variety of the workouts that you shared with me. It was great. You gave me a bunch. Okay. Is this your place?
Yeah, yep.
All right. So what I'm looking for with these views are how much pronation you're showing. Looks pretty solid, not a problem there. Let's go from the rear. Still looks pretty good. And I found this is more entertaining to look at. All right. So the good news is that you're doing a pretty good job. You're doing a pretty good job. You're reaching a little more than I'd like you to, but from a standpoint of a problem, see if I can catch it.
So this run here was probably about 10 weeks ago. I remember these were like my longer runs, so probably not as, they were probably sitting around like 350 to 4 minute pace per K.
Okay. Okay. Well, what I'm looking at, or what I look for in all of this is, and I hope this gets in your head a little bit, because this is fine, but what's happening there is, boom, you're touching and pulling your body forward, what you're doing. And this is very, very common. You're reaching ahead, tagging the ground, drawing your body to your foot. Now, this is the mantra that I would love to have you stick in your head. You want to turn around from a pull to a push through space. So what I'm getting at is, like, again, now, so you anchor down, and then here's your body, and you're going to pull your body to foot. What I would love to see happen, and I mean, it's a very minimal alteration on your part. I know you indicated you're concerned to make too many changes. You're at the end of this quest, and before we go into this other thing, that you didn't want to fuck up, and I'm totally with you. I don't want to. I'm not here to just rip apart what you're doing.
Oh no! I meant more like no, you change whatever you want. I meant more like 12 weeks. So say like at the moment, like say for example, yesterday's session 8 1Ks. I didn't want to go from like getting up to something like that and then like start again with a new coach and they go, okay, let's do 2 1Ks. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what I meant by that.
Right. Right. So here's what I'm looking at. There's the fulcrum. This is your hip. This is where the knee should be. And this is where the foot should be.
Yep.
So what will happen is if you're, let's just call this the ground. If you're still in flight at this point in time, by the time you touch down here, your body's going to be directly over your foot.
Yep.
And then what's going to end up happening is, opposed to pulling your body forward, like I indicated, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be pushing your body forward. Everything's going to go this way, rather than your foot coming out here and then your body being here, and then here's the anchor and you pull yourself to the anchor. I want, from the moment you're touching down, this synergistic lockdown isometrically, and to fire off of that contact. And then what ends up happening is, all the way up the chain, isometrically, you're going to lock down. So you're a little ahead of where I want you to be. And I'll tell you what, I went through this with Hunter just the other day, and he was very similar to what you're doing in respect to approaching the ground. What I was trying to get across is that when you're outside, nothing occurs until you push or pull yourself through space. On a mechanized treadmill, the treadmill, you're just keeping up with it. So when you're doing this, your knee carry will be an outcome of good force production off the ground. You won't have to pick your knee up. Your knee will go up. And I started wanted to show you yesterday, but it was for a different reason. But I want to show it to you again because I think it bears repeating. Let's see. Let's go back here to those pictures of my boy Mo. Okay, so if you look at his angle, you see his lower limb is almost perpendicular with the ground. It's vertical. And he's not even touched the ground yet. When he touches the ground, his body's going to be directly over that foot. And he's going to gain this massive force production off the ground. And that's what's going to cause that hip angle to open up. You could, well, let me get back here. If I can find it. This one, is it this one? There you go. So look at his hip angle is 103 degrees. I mean, he's got this massive hip angle, and the hip angle is the reward for making good ground contact. So if I go back to this, if your knee was here, the outcome would be is your swing leg is going to end up further behind you, and your anterior chain is going to be loaded and released. And that's going to cause that boom, it's going to bring the knee back up. It's going to be a function of what happened off the ground, right? And so ultimately what we want is we want to be able to be sailing across the ground with little effort. We don't want to have to do the work. We want to get the benefits of gravitational force. And it's a function of defeating the braking moment that you're having. And it's minimal. In your case, it's minimal. I'm happy to say it's not a lot to fix. It's not like, oh shit, what are we going to do with this? This is just, seriously, this is getting your foot a little, if I drew it out, let's see if I can make this work.
So if I'm right in saying it's that my swing leg at the back needs to come up, and which will then make my knee go forward at the front, which will open up my hips, or
It's the polar opposite.
okay.
So what happens? This is what's happening. So like right now, here you are. If you were to set down now, right? If you were to set down now, the outcome would be your body's direct over top of that foot. And because all of that's in congruence, what's going to happen is it's going to cause that forward leg to swing back because the force production is going to swing it. The best analogy I know is if you've ever been on a skateboard, and so your foot that's planted on the skateboard is your stability, and then you're going to drive, but you can't reach ahead to pull or reach behind to push. It's got to be consistent with your contact with that other foot. And then you're going to swing that leg back, and that eccentric energy that you create is going to back up, and you're going to paw at the ground again. But you're going to be pushing your body forward rather than pulling your body forward. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
So this whipping action, here is a result of what happened here. So when this hits well, boom, that goes. And then because it's stretched, you got this stretch reflex, it's going to pop that knee back up. What we want to come more around per step with less effort.
Yep.
Sounds magical, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And so now the question might be, well, how the hell do I get there, right? My favorite tool for this very thing is what you saw I had a hunter doing out in that field. He's dragging that skill sack. That skill sack's got about 6 kilos in it. It's very light, but it's just enough to give you the kinesthetic awareness, cause you to get a little better forward lean, and it'll teach you to drive off your foot rather than pull off the ground.
Yep.
I'm gonna see if I have it here. I bet I do. And I mean, to tell you, the difference was astounding. It was astounding. Instantaneously. I didn't have to tell him anything else.
So you want me to wear you want me to wear a heart rate monitor every session, even my strength and conditioning classes we do?
Well, so appreciate that it's giving us information. What I said this to people, and it seems ironic coming from me, but I tell people the watch should be something you use to tell you what happened, not to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
Right? I see guys racing and they're doing this shit, right? And they freak themselves out. And, oh my God, my heart rate's too high or too low, or and they're being a slave to this. And there's so many things that are going to cause the heart rate to talk to you. I'd rather just collect the information after the fact, right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there'd be times we'll pay closer attention to it, but ultimately, if we can see the cause and effect relationship with what occurred, it's good information. So it's going to be a little garbled because you're moving around doing various things. But when we start doing these simulations, we'll have a chance to see the cost of work doing one thing versus the other. And so, like, for example, I've just now posted for this week 2 workouts that are basically time trials. And what I've done is I've separated a couple things. Like, so you're going to do a warm up for 10 minutes, easy pace, then a 1K run, and then a 1K ski, best effort. Then you're going to recover, walk it off for about 5 minutes, and you're going to do another one that's going to be one. Then you're going to do a row. Okay, so one's a ski, then the other one's a row.
Yep.
Now, this is not going to take a lot of time.
Yep.
Right? So if you wanted to run behind that, that's fine. But what would be interesting here, I refer to it as a time trial because I want to see your approach today doing this, your best effort, and whether we're getting better at it as time moves on. And so I've separated a couple of the components of the races in time trial fashion. So they're not really simulations as much as they are just segregating a couple components of the event and seeing where our strengths and weaknesses are.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I go into a training facility to do a clinic. All the treadmills they have are those fucking free runners or something like that. I'm like, oh no. And I'm a guest, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna be a dick about it. I'm like, man, I said, you know what? I said, I need you to stop running on that thing, because you're teaching yourself to overstride.
Yeah.
You're going fast, but you're reaching to do it. And then you go outside or you go out in an event and you're going to replicate exactly what you taught yourself to do on that team.
Yeah.
And, then it comes down to how hard you can work. Can I outwork the other guy? There's value in that, but I'd rather have you not have to work as hard and achieve greatness, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
All right, so Monday you're doing wall ball run like hell, it's called.
Yep.
Now, I can tell you that my belief is that when you're training for the Hyrox competitions, how well you run solo doesn't have much bearing because you got to take into account that the next thing you're going to do is not going to be running. And so you need to train yourself to be able to shift energy systems or shift the recruitment patterns of your body when you move to the next thing. And it throws everything out the window. So I typically won't, on occasion I'll have you do something very run basic. But most of the things that I'll have you do are going to be combos. It's going to be, you do one thing, then you do the next thing. And you do one thing, and do the next thing.
Yeah.
And it could be as few as 2 things. It could be as many as all of them. I like to do a full-blown simulation every 2 weeks.
Yep.
And I like to treat it like race day. So the day before is going to be kind of a race prep. So it'd be easy, like 30 minutes worth of just, shaking it out from the week. and then you're going to as close as you can replicate your race effort, you're going to do it. And that way we're going to see the tail of the tape is going to lay out for us what's going on, what's working, what's not. But I don't like it sooner than that. Hunter got to a place where he was doing one every week, and I thought that was too much. And he ended up crashing and burning, and he doesn't tell people that he knew it was happening. He called me. He said, "I've never been so fit in all my life." I said, "You're 5 weeks out from your race." I said, "You're peaking too early. You're going to explode." And that was the race in LA that he quit. Didn't finish the race. He walked off because he knew it was not going anywhere, and he totally fucked up. And I think I probably ruined by letting him know that I thought he was gonna blow it, but in fact he did. Run on concrete or run on a track.
Yeah.
And then so we're looking for carryover. We want to put that sensation of that contact point in play, and then try to carry it over. And it works out pretty well. His heart rate is dumped. He's running, it's a 626 pace, something like that. And his heart rate is 145 beats per minute. For him at 145 beats per minute, he's barely breathing. And so he's able to pull in race pace. He's able to get down under 6 minutes, 5:15.
So you're saying what 145? He's not breathing. He's in it's easy for him.
Oh, really easy for him.
Yeah, and he's running at what?
He's racing at 165 to 170.
Yeah. Okay.
And it means consistently holding that the whole time. And he's absolutely anaerobic the whole time.
Yeah. Okay.
So we want to build the ability to move that. You're doing a lot of. I'm assuming you're doing a lot of strength work too, right? So deadlifts, squats, things like this.
Yep. So what does race pace mean? Is that all out?
Well, race pace is what you can sustain. Maximum sustained effort for 1 kilometer. So it sounds like you've already been doing that.
Well, for example, for example, yesterday 340 pace. That's not I could have done a lot quicker, but that was just what it was set at. My program was set it to be sub or to be right on 350 pace. So race pace. And then recover for 20 beats. So just look at my watch, wait for it to recover, and then go again. Yep.
Yeah.
Now
the trick to me with recovery, I see so many people focusing on time-based recoveries. So let's just say that you're recovering on the minute, or let's say you're recovering on 2 minutes, whatever it might be. When you're training, if you're not seeing a shift in that recovery, then or respecting that shift in recovery, you're doing yourself a disservice. So what I do is I'm going to limit the amount of recovery you get. So I'm going to give you 20 beats. 20 beats is indicating that a lot of that lactate is starting to move out of the muscle. You should go again. But we're not going to get rid of all of it. We don't want to clear it. We want to have to live with some of that lactate.
Yeah.
And the top end, same thing. If you get to a place where the workout's unsustainable and the recoveries take too long, then you're in trouble. You're not really giving yourself the edge you're looking for. So I like about a 20 beat recovery in these scenarios. Some people might argue with that, but I don't like looking at time for recovery, because let's just say you're improved, but you're still sticking to whatever timeline recovery you were before. You're not going to improve because your body starts to look for that recovery.
Yeah.
Now 1 minute's pretty quick. I'll grant you that 1 minute's fast, right? You're not. You're probably going to see about 20 beats drop in 1 minute. That's what you're going to see. So it'll probably be pretty similar.
Yeah. Yeah. Sweet.
But so now I'm not saying to stop doing what you're doing. So if you're running outside or running on your mechanical treadmill and you finish your 1K, you pop off, you see your heart rate, you're walking around, heart rate's up 20 beats, back to work. You want to be strict about making sure you get back to work on time.
Yep.
And then pay attention. I'm not even going to give you a target. I don't even want to use pace as a target or your heart rate as a target. I want your perception of effort. Fuck, I can't hold this much longer. It's too fast. This is easy. Find that spot where it's sustainable, but maximum sustainable effort for the distance.
Yep.
Right? And then then you're going to start noticing that that's going to start changing. Your maximum sustainable effort is going to improve. Your recovery times are going to shorten. You're going to be able to get back in the game quicker. And that's what you need, because I see these guys all the time. They go crazy out of the gate, hit the ski erg, try to get that next run. And by the time they hit the sled, they're shit. Their body's gone. They've got nothing left. They're just way in over their heads with sustainability.
Yep.
The numbers would have borne out about 217. I was afraid to let those words come out of my mouth because it sounded so crazy, right? But looking at this, I'm like, shit, it's there, you know?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So I will see you on time next week.
Yep.
Load that information in TrainingPeaks.
Yep. We'll do.
And let's get it done.
Perfect. Thanks for that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, take care.
Thanks, mate.